J. Barber. It's just so wonderful to be here with all of Barbara's brothers at this particular time. We're now going to celebrate his 100th birthday, coming once again as the awakener. Dear Father, please speak. Our family first heard of Baba through our sister Beryl. She was the seeker. She was a very unhappy person, which we didn't really comprehend. Although she worked very hard, she never seemed to get anywhere. And she turned to studying about religions and what causes people to be here and what our purpose for being here is. And she couldn't find it in conventional religions. And she started reading in all the metaphysical books, and she turned to Eastern philosophy. And she used to come to our home, although she didn't live there. She took her meals with us. And she would come to the house to have her meal. And she had this habit of sharing the things that she found that appealed to her as far as our growth and our finding God in things that I never gave any thought to because I was brought up in the conventional religions. But I found as she would read about the Eastern philosophy and how God is within us and how we should try to find God, the things that she would tell me appealed to me. And she would give me books to read, and I found them very interesting. Well, she was a seeker. I was following the family ahead. I was married, and I had a child, and now I was expecting what turned to be 2 children, twins. So although what she would tell me appealed to me, I had my life, and I felt that this was what I had to do. But something always pulled me back to Eastern philosophy, back to learning of masters. My father also was a seeker, and Beryl and himself would have long discussions about masters and things to do with the path and all. And I only half listened. Well, there came a time in 49-50, my father heard of a Norina Machiavelli through other friends of his, and he told Beryl about her. Now, Norina was going to give a lecture at Carnegie Hall. Well, it happened that he became ill, and he couldn't attend this lecture. So he asked Beryl if she wanted to attend. So she said, he's a master, a real living master? Of course, I would love to hear more about him. And she and a friend of my father's went to Carnegie Hall and heard Norina speak. And she was very much impressed. Yeah. And she came home and she was telling me about Marina, and how she told them that Baba was expected to come to the States in 1952. And John Bass, who was helping to conduct the meetings, and Fred and Ella, invited anyone who wanted to meet this master, who was Baba, to put the names down, and they would be notified when Baba came to the States. And so as it came to pass, Baba came. Well, Beryl was very, very excited. And she tried to get me to come with her down to Myrtle Beach, as I found out Baba was going to be here at the center, his center, here in 1952. So she kept after me, as she did. And she was a very persistent person, and she was so drawn to Baba. She wanted me to share in Baba and to come down to the South at that time to meet him. But when I found out that Baba would be here in the South, I told her, no way. I wasn't coming here. I says, you can go and get lynched if you want. I am not about it. And you know, the South was a very dangerous place at that time. So anyway, she came. Yes, she met Baba. And that was the year that Baba had his accident. Well, when she came home from being with Baba, she came right to tell me all about him. Now, at the time that she met Baba, that she heard of Baba and became acquainted with Baba, she had given me some Eastern philosophy, a book. There were 5 sets of books, and they were called The Life and Teachings of the Masters of the Far East. And they were powerful books. The books, one of them, these masters said that the masters could be contacted. And if you meditated, if you did meditation, set meditation, you could contact these masters. So I used to diligently meditate on these masters. This I used to meditate on even before I knew what meditation was about. Just listen to it. This was before I knew about anything of Baba as a master. This is taken from the life and teachings of the masters of the Far East. Reportedly, these words were spoken by Jesus, the light. As I stand alone in your great silence, God my Father, in the midst of me, there blazes a pure light, and it fills every atom of my being with its great radiance. Life, love, strength, purity, beauty, perfection stands forth in all dominion within me. As I gaze into the light, the very heart of this light, I see another light, liquid, soft, golden, and luminous, absorbing, mothering, and giving forth the caressing fire of the greater light. And I know that I am God, one with God's whole universe. I whisper to God my Father, and I am undisturbed. And this, I felt, was sufficient for me. I couldn't grasp Beryl's telling me about Baba. She used to read discourses to me, and my head would spin, literally spin. I would get headaches. I could not understand what she was saying. And I used to tell her, this is too much for me. I'm satisfied with this. I'm going to contact the masters. And this is what I proceeded to do. Well, after she went to see Baba in 52, and she came back, Baba had her beating a path to my door. I lived in the Bronx. Beryl lived in Manhattan. She worked all week. Every Saturday, Beryl was at my door with a book and a story about Baba. She told me about Baba having the accident and how I must come to the meetings. And now, I had 3 young children, a set of twins, and then I had an older child, 3 or 4 years old. Had a husband to take care of. Beryl was single, and she had nothing to do, as I called it. The father. One Saturday, now, there's another thing I must point out. Beryl was a very fiery person, and when she believed something, and she wouldn't stand for anyone contradicting her or not listening to her. But with Baba, after she came back from meeting him, I could see the change in her. I used to tell my other sister, there's something different about Beryl. I can't put my foot on it, my finger on it, I mean. I just can't put my finger on it, but there's something different about her. And she was saying, yeah. But we couldn't figure it out. Well, one Saturday, Beryl came to see me. And as Saturday, I had all my work to do. Children, the diapers, the formulas, everything. And while she was there sitting, I can see her now sitting on the stool in the kitchen, talking to me about Baba. And she had this discourse about love. And she was reading this, and I was grumbling to myself, love, she needs to get married, and then she'll know what love is. And I got frustrated, and I told her, I said, this I have. I said, why do you want to take the crutches from a person and you give them nothing to stand on? I said, this appeals to me. This is the lighter. The masters, they appeal to me. And how do you know that Mir Baba is a master? I asked her. How do you know? Well, this particular Saturday she came, and I was a little annoyed. And while I was fuming to myself, to Baba, I didn't know it then, Baba said, maybe she's hungry. Asked if she had something to eat. I thought to myself, well, yeah, maybe she is hungry, so I asked her. No, she hadn't eaten. She had come straight up to tell me all this about love and all the things that she was reading to me. So she told me no, she hadn't eaten, and asked her if she wanted to eat. And so I asked her, no, this is Baba talking to me, and I didn't know it at the time. So she said, yes, she wanted to eat, and now I had to stop taking care of the diapers and whatever I was doing, and fix her breakfast. So I did that. And she ate, and she read, and she taught, and then it was time she had to go somewhere else. And she said she was leaving. So she started to leave, and as she went to the door, I followed her in order to see her out and lock the door. So as she went through the door, I closed the door, and she said, oh, by the way, I have something for you. I said, oh. So she reached in her pocketbook, and she took out both.
No.
This picture. Wait a minute. This picture of Baba. This is a set of pictures that Baba took with Muhammad, the Muslim. And there was a picture of Muhammad attached to this. Baba has his own of them. Now, when you would give somebody who doesn't even want to hear about masters or anything about this particular master, she was telling me, a picture like this. Well, she handed it to me through the door. I closed the door, and I took a picture like this and locked the door. As I came into the apartment, I put on the light to see what this is. What is this that she gave me? And I looked at the picture, and my heart turned upside down. I started shaking. I didn't know what to do with myself. I ran into our bedroom. Oh, I'm sorry. What happened?
Just your helping guest.
Well, Baba. I ran into our bedroom, and I hid the picture under his underwear. I was so frightened of this picture. It did make my heart just flooded. So I left it there, and now Beryl didn't come to see me for several weeks. And I would think about this picture hidden in the drawer. And I say, well, if she comes, she'll think I don't want the picture. I should at least put it out where she can see it. And right away, Baba said, don't put it out unless you want to. And so I left the picture there. So now the children are getting a little bit bigger, and they need the larger room. So we moved our furniture into the small room, and we switched rooms. So now I had to bring his dresser into the room. I said, well, I can put it on the dresser. And I put the picture on his dresser. And I looked at it. Nothing happened. And I'd move it and dust it. Nothing happened. So I eventually moved it to the night table on my side of the bed. And I'd look at it. Nothing happened. What's the matter with me? Nothing. Nonsense. So in the meantime now, I went to see my friend. And I said, now Baba's picture is on my night table. I told Harry, this particular night, I said, don't lock the door. I'm just going over to Doris, and I'll be right back. said, don't lock the door. He said, all right. Well, we went over, we made coffee, we talked. Her husband got up to go to work. This is 4 o'clock in the morning. What has happened to the time? I said, it can't be 4 o'clock. I dashed across the street and into the house. He had left the door open for me. I said, I better not put the light on in the bedroom. It might awaken him. So I put the light in the wall, and the reflection from the light in the wall gave me enough light in the bedroom for me to get undressed and sneak into bed. I got undressed. He's snoring. The children sleeping. As I was about to turn off the light in the hall, Father said, why don't you meditate? Meditate? I said, all right. Now, I never meditated on a picture, or I didn't even know anything about Father. But I said, all right. And I went and got the chair, the children's chair, and I sat it before the night table, and I sat down. But before my bottom could rest on the chair, this picture began to flow. It began to flow. And I looked at the picture and I backed away. And the white, radiant light. Did you hear what I was reading? That Jesus spoke about. The light, this whole face of Father's was white, radiant, dancing. Oh. And I said, then before I could catch my breath and figure out what was happening, Father burst out of this picture. Burst out. And he struck me right in my heart. And I leaped up in the air. And I said, yes, I believe. Oh, I didn't wake him. I believe. And I sat and I looked at Father's. And I was on fire. I didn't know which way to go. I was jumping. I ran to the window and I threw the window open. I wanted everybody to come. I wanted to call Beryl. I wanted to tell Beryl. I didn't know what to do with myself. I jumped in the bed. I covered up my head. I said, oh. Then I thought, what if it happens again? I jumped out the bed. I sat in front of Bob. And now the light wasn't this white, radiant light. It was golden, yellow. And it was like it just came out of the picture as a dash. It came across Bob's body. It came across his eyes, his nose, oh, Bob. Then it went back into the picture. It started dancing. And as a string, just one light came out. It came out of the picture and across onto the dresser. dancing. And all the things that were on the night table, the light touched. And as the light touched these objects, like pencil, pen, paper, all the objects that were on the dresser became this light, this golden. It went across the bed and touched my husband. I was speechless. I didn't know it. Then it danced. Now, everything has disappeared from the table. They've all become this golden light. They danced back across and into. The picture became like a funnel, and they all poured into Baba. And Baba said to me, the nothingness of all things, the oneness of everything. They all danced out of the picture and took their original form on the Baba. I didn't know what, as I said, I'll tell you 1,000 times, I didn't know what to do with myself. If Baba hadn't sat me down, I would have collapsed on the floor. But he had me to sit when he told me to meditate. So I got in bed and I went to sleep. I went in the room and I just wanted to bring everybody I knew, to come and see this, to feel Baba, to feel what I was feeling. So I went in the room and I touched the children. I touched my husband. And I got in bed and I went to sleep. And that was the beginning of my knowing. Baba showed me that this light that I used to meditate was him. Baba. I told Beryl about this experience, and she was just amazed because she couldn't understand what had happened to me, because I wouldn't read anything that she gave me. And now I'm telling her what happened. So now, this is 1954. The men went to Baba for the 3 incredible weeks. I was in a state. Here's Harry, he can tell you, I didn't know whether I was coming or going for weeks. He would take care of the children. He would cook. He'd come over from work, and he would cook. And I used to tell him, don't let any of my friends, all these friends that I had, and the children and the bottles, I didn't want to know any of them. I didn't want any of them to talk to me. I just was in this state. So Val told me about the men that had gone to Bob. And this day she said, I've forgotten his name. Not Darwin.
Malcolm Schwartz.
Pardon?
Malcolm Schwartz.
No.
Fred
Frank Eaton.
I know the name. Not Darwin, the other, Deep.
Frank Eaton.
No, not Don Stevens. Anyway, she was speaking to him on the phone, and they were sending back messages of what was happening there in India. And I understood her to say that Baba wanted us to meditate on him in the morning when we wake up, at noontime, at 5 o'clock, and then before going to bed. So I took this picture and I started meditating on Baba at these particular times. And what happened to me at these times is unbelievable. Baba brought me to India. When the men were going up the hill with Baba, Baba stopped, picked up a rock, and threw the rock. I told her all about it. I described the sadra that Baba was wearing and the jacket and everything because I was there. Baba would draw me to India and I would watch things that were going on with Baba and the men. I just can't go into everything. Anyway, the men came back and Darwin gave a talk at, I've forgotten the hall. And when Darwin began to speak about Baba came from him as he stood on that stage and stood there with us. And later, Darwin told us that Baba said for them to take him back home to us. And he did just that. I saw Baba standing on the stage.